It seems like Battlefield 6 is gonna be a huge success, and let's read this article over here. If you're new, be sure to subscribe for more Battlefield 6, only Battlefield 6 related content. I'll be here with you guys from here on now, so you'll definitely be getting a lot of frequent Battlefield 6 videos. Anyway, let's take a look at this. How does Battlefield 6 finally become a mega hit on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC? That's pretty hard to make. It has to be more like Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3, and is happy to learn from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare, it blow everyone's PCs out of proportion. It's basically awesome. Like, Modern Warfare is really good. You have to give them that. Like, they made a huge good marketing thing, a lot of hype, and it has to appear without massive bugs. That's a huge thing that Battlefield 5 had. Massive bugs. Take over weapon modding for Battlefield 4, yes please. Destruction engine from Bad Company, that would be amazing. And the Epic from Battlefield 3 with Levolution, helicopters, and fire jets. If DICE listens to its fans, only scenario for Battlefield 6, Battlefield 2021, a modern war with a full focus on helicopters, drones, and fire jets. There can be only one routine for Battlefield 6, 2021, Modern War. It's gonna be Modern War. Full focus on Apaches, Blackhawks, drones. Yeah, let's go. We're gonna have drones in a epic high-tech battles. It has to be more like Battlefield 3, but it has to have like graphics like Battlefield 4, right? Even Battlefield 3 had nice graphics. Surely the best Battlefield in recent years may also inherit some of the achievements from Battlefield 4. DICE can't help it, because whenever people talk about Battlefield 1 or 5, they say, oh, if they were a little bit more like Battlefield 4 and good old Battlefield 3. Battlefield 4 still has servers today. It will love the Battlefield community, and nobody's talking about Battlefield Hardline because it doesn't count. It was made by a different company. It's almost grotesque that Infinity Ward and Activision intruded it earlier than DICE and EA. They definitely have probably teams of people understanding competitors and everything and the market. We recently analyzed why Call of Duty Warzone feels like more than Battlefield in the current Battlefield 5. No, Battlefield 5 is not a bad game. I would beg to differ. It has some bad features, so it's completely average, in my honest opinion. If you're a viewer watching this, please let me know in the comments why you like it. It can be great. War in the Pacific is fantastic. Battlefield 5 needs that focus on epic battles and big maps. Problem with Battlefield 5 is the hackers. Unfortunately, it's also a work that had to deal with many bugs and problems since it's launched in September 2018. So many features simply did not work, were removed via patch or completely rebuilt. DICE really tried everything and invested a lot of money and time in this game. Now it has been a bit resigned. Battlefield 5 is not completely round, but there is now only one content drop, so there's no longer a complete chapter. The attack on Pearl Harbor could be wonderfully captured, for example, on a map. There's gonna be stuff like that. That already came out. In a statement to IGN, EA confirmed what we can expect the next game. Oh, nice. Gamers can look forward to a new Battlefield next year. DICE will continue to support Battlefield 5 and Battlefront 2 over the next few years, just with server support, not new updates. But the focus is on the future of Battlefield that players will experience in 2021. Design director Daniel Berlin stated work on the next title in early 2019, so it's already in development for about 2 years, since he has been working on an unannounced game, according to LinkedIn. Battlefield 6 should be now at least a year in development, appear in September 2021. Battlefield traditionally always appears before Call of Duty. Battlefield 6 needs helicopters. Without helicopters, it simply work. Otherwise, it's not a Battlefield. This is how Battlefield must be. Infantry advanced over land and water and directly covered by helicopters, while fighter jets open the offensive. Battlefield 2021 will not have an easy time of it. It will have to fight guard to regain its fan base. A lot of people from Battlefield 6 sadly left and went to Warzone. The Battlefield 6 community loves War in the Pacific, the last big update, but went through a difficult period with many IOs beforehand. With all due respect for the performance of the studio, DICE will not have an easy time regaining the love of its fans. The Swedes have to deliver a very polished, very polished, error-free game. That's why they're working it on plus 3 years, because Battlefield 5 was simply rushed and they still thought people would buy it. Fighter bombers to crack tanks and attack artillery positions. Fast attack helicopters, brand Apache that can fly deep under the radar, and they're extremely fast. A Battlefield that plays in 2001 could also, of course, include the latest models such as the Airbus or the Bell Invictus. Those are some fast stuff. Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 are good games in themselves, but they simply lack the Battlefield magic. They have some shitty tanks. Okay, this often leads to balance problems. Bombers unload their loads over a bridge. The infantry has only a very small window of time to call their fighter pilots for help. or get into themselves to blow the danger out of the sky. In Battlefield 3 and 4, we can have very efficiently cover our infantry with helicopters and counter the powerful air force thanks to the heat-seeking missiles. Therefore, the modern age is much better setting. I could totally agree with that. Totally. Battlefield 6 should focus on big maps and epic battles. That's definitely true. The skyscraper and the vertical gameplay complemented each other wonderfully in Battlefield 4 with the extensive maps. Battlefield 5 is very infantry focused, which is definitely true. We barely see any good helicopters. Some places it feels as if DICE primarily wanted one-on-one fights, and the Air Force and tank units are often not integral of the planned gameplay loop. They are there and playable, but it often looks like you have them in the game because it's called Battlefield. It's mostly infantry. It's mostly like Call of Duty. It's not really worth it. They're not part of the design DNA on some cards. They were a lot different with Battlefield 4. The maps were huge, so it was hard to move without tanks. Sometimes even huge, and they had a lot of character. Remember Parasol Storm. Oh, that one was good. A huge area of different islands that you couldn't travel. You could probably go on water, but you wouldn't get far. We remember that even after many years, in general, Revolution was a revolutionary good idea simply because it could completely change a map during the match, which was amazing. For example, when we blow the skyscraper in Shanghai, that was awesome. We don't want to do Battlefield 5 wrong, but they completely messed up the Revolution thing. The cards from Battlefield 5 missed this element of surprise. This is why Battlefield 5 was bad, which Battlefield 4 often had. Let's think of the transmission. Huge radar station and military base in the middle, surrounded by a forest. This allows the infantry to sneak up on the enemy and stab them in the back. The surprise element is often missing in Battlefield 5. We always know where the enemy attacking from and where the front lines are. Yes, DICE keeps trying to break it open, but it looks like you have a lot changed your design philosophy by a lot. Siege of Shanghai, Dawnbreaker, these are cards the colleagues from Battlefield 5 cannot complete. Landmass was often felt to be taken out so that everything was narrower. Of course, there are commendable expectations, Sinai Desert in Battlefield 1 and Panzerstorm in Battlefield 5, but take a look at how DICE has capture points closer together. In other words, there are these big cards, but they're optimally not exploited because, of course, the struggles revolved around the strategically important points. This was completely different in Battlefield 4 and 3. Motocross bikes, ATVs, buggies, tanks, helicopters, jets. They were all integrated in the flow of the map vehicle, and each played its role. You never had this in Battlefield 5, that's why it didn't work out. Battlefield 6 needs the excellent weapon modeling. We definitely need that. Maybe forgiven for this outrage, but Call of Duty is in many facets better Battlefield simply because it has so many weapon mods. You can customize the weapon any way you want. You can customize it to be really good, you can customize it to be fun, you can customize it to be for long range, short range, close range, mid range, close quarter combat, smokes. You can put, grenade barrels on it. I don't know, there's so many things. You couldn't do that in Battlefield 5. You had maybe one scope and that was it. A muzzle brake to reduce recoil, only we don't see what feels strange in the game. This is completely unnecessary limitation for the player. Why this was done? DICE decided against the premium model at Battlefield 5, which was ultimately possibly a mistake, which it was. At Battlefield 4, you made a lot of money with your content, with a total of 4 DLC packages. With Battlefield 5, cards were certainly free, which sounds great on paper, but ultimately led DICE to hardly developing any new cards, because they were free, they didn't earn anything from this. Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, DICE made its money with content and sometimes excellent DLC packages, so they really worked hard to make those DLCs good. At Battlefield 5, you had to make your money with skins. Oh, fuck this. New multiplayer cards cost a lot of money to develop, but do not necessarily sell more skins. The priorities changed accordingly, so they just pumped up more skins, DICE has to involve its community earlier in order to avoid time-consuming mistakes. Battlefield 5 did not return to its former strength until War in the Pacific. Before that, DICE has been struggling with bugs and features for almost a year that the community didn't appreciate. Of course, it's difficult to publish a mammoth project like Battlefield 5 in perfect status because it's huge, but the release, anyone who remembers the release, you could get spawn camped with bombs, which was terrible. Balance problems in his game with countless patches. Perhaps the biggest mistake, and all the way coughing in the nail for this really great game, was that DICE could not decide. There was also a total lack of leadership and experience. The Swedes literally danced around the volcano and were apparently completely surprised by the player feedback on a weekly basis. Hey guys, we're gonna put this trailer where a woman is without an arm and she's shooting men. Whoa, what? We're getting 60 million dislikes? That's weird, guys. You guys are weird. Our game is gonna be great. You're gonna see, and then the game just died off. The hits required for a kill are not a test server, but a live operation. The community rebelled, ergo you undid it. And then that happened. More often than all, battlefields before. It sometimes looked as if DICE either did not understand his own game, or his community, or did not have a functioning Q&A. That's why they have a new marketing specialist. They have a new marketing specialist now. Probably the old one was fired. They said, you're trash. They fired him, and that was that. And features came into the game that were not only poorly worked and shot other parts of the title, rather complete gameplay mechanics led to absurdity, so you had to unlock set skins to get weapon upgrades. With a grind currency, unfortunately many players did not receive this important currency because of the correct points were not awarded on the end screen, or sometimes no points at all, like some bugs didn't reward you for playing. And the reward is really important, especially a dopamine. It makes you play more. If you had asked them beforehand, you could have saved yourself a lot of problems. They should have asked like what Valorant is doing. It basically tells people, hey, what do you want to see in our game? And then they feature this in the game. If Battle Royale, then do it right? No more half-baked Firestorm. I can't even remember that game. I don't know what it was. I simply don't know. Call of Duty Warzone is doing everything right. Battlefield Firestorm has good ideas, but was quickly neglected. Many gamers would have given Firestorm a chance if it had been available free of charge. Why would you charge for a Battlefield Battle Royale game? This is not PUBG anymore. This is crazy. And maybe we'll have bought Battlefield 5 as we are experiencing at Call of Duty Warzone. If you like Warzone and want to play real multiplayer, you can also buy Modern Warfare directly. That's the way you have to do it. You have to make Battlefield 6 Battle Royale free and then make Battlefield 6 payable, right? Such as tanks could be found in bunkers, the tanks of which we had to refill, and there was generally a lot to discover. But there are also a number of structural problems. The Halva map is one of the largest Battlefield history. How would you have needed 150 players like we have in the Call of Duty Warzone? With 64 players, it was mostly dust. You know, it would take a long time to get in the battle. Firestorm was in all fun, but was ultimately neglected and sacrificed in part of DICE because they needed a resource to fix balance problems and work on the Pacific. Fortunately, this can also be seen on a number of players. Several days in April 2020, we did not get 64 players that were actually intended. That's so little. Maybe it could have been better to leave it with Criterion. BF6 6 should return a DLC model. Yeah, it's a DLC model. 1 month after launch. That's like a bonus. So I said like 5 things we're gonna need to see. But we also need new DLCs. So 1 month after launch, we got China Rising. Like, this is for Battlefield 4. A full 20 cards were replenished by DLC packages after launch in the rather short time frame. And yes, they may be controversial opinion, but the DLC model is better for DICE for making money and for making the players happy, not the skins. Nobody gives a shit about the skins. You should unlock the skins pretty much free. I guess this is more, but what else do you want to see for Battlefield 6? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching until the end, and be sure to check out my other videos. Be sure to subscribe, it will help me out a lot. I know sometimes I speak really fast, but that's why I want to get this point across in under 20 minutes. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoy, and yeah, this is Fatman, sign out.